Hey guys, it's Brian Paul from PSVR Without Parole. Obviously, there's some new games coming out in the PlayStation Store for PlayStation VR. Depending on where you live determines which one you're going to get this week, but they're all coming out. They'll all be out within the course of the next week. Usually I like to have reviews ready for the release of a game when possible. But this week I hit so many roadblocks at every single turn that I just wasn't able to get my hands on these games until just recently. So what I did was, since Australia seems to get games like the day before the US does, I just created an Australian account and then jumped through quite a few hoops to get some money into that account. And then I downloaded Radial-G Racing Revolt and Bloody Zombies. So we'll be talking about both of these games in this video. If you're interested in VR carts, I put up a review a long time ago about that. And the other game is Manifest 99. As soon as I get a chance to play it, I'll get a review up for you. But let's get started with Radial-G Racing Revolt. I just wanted to give some first impressions about this. First impressions are extremely positive. Now, as far as like the game itself, when you start the game, like presentation-wise, it's sort of lacking. Like, sure, the racing is great and there's like ship selection and course selection, but there's all these like things that usually like tie all of that stuff together, and it just seems to be missing all of that. It's very bare bones as far as presentation goes, but honestly, the game itself is good enough where like I don't really even miss that stuff. So the first thing I want to do is figure out how to play the game, and the tutorial is really lacking. It's like 10 or 11 really short videos, like 10 seconds each, explaining different aspects of the game, and it was very not helpful at all, to be honest with you. So here's what you do. It's obviously a futuristic racer in the vein of like F-Zero or Wipeout, except in this game you're racing around the outside of a tube. You can accelerate by holding down R2, but what you really need to do is hit these green lit up like speed boost panels that are all on the exterior of the track. And your goal is like to beeline it for like all these green panels so that you can just hit one after the other after another, and if you don't see one ahead of you, well then that's when you need to start learning to like rotate and like spin around this tube, because if you don't see one in front of you, I guarantee there's one over here, or just like out of sight somewhere. So that's what you need to learn to do very quickly. And I got to give some respect to the developers, because so many games recently require you to do teleportations, move around, or click turning, and they don't give you the option. Like Eagle Flight even had like, you know, the blinders, but Radial-G just like throws caution to the wind, and I'll tell you that like it gets pretty intense. The speed can be really overwhelming sometimes, but like I don't get motion sick, so I can't tell you if you're gonna experience motion sickness. But I will say that this is the fastest game I've played in VR. Although like Thumper and Polybius are probably there on the same level somewhere. But I mean, you're racing on a roller coaster. It twists and turns, and sometimes you can't see where you're going. But all the while, you need to avoid these big red gates. The red gates will slow you down and also drain your shields. And if your shields are low enough, they'll destroy your ship. And to be fair, your shields are almost always low. There's 7 ships to choose from. There's 9 tracks, but there's basically 3 core tracks and then like 3 variations of those original tracks. So it's 9 tracks total. It's almost like easy, set, medium, and hard set. And it's not just like AI or like the difficulty of the game. It's also that speed increases with easy, medium, and hard. Like just the overall speed of the game. And I will say that like I've played on the harder courses, and I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I will say it's going to take a really long time to acclimate to the intensity that brings. Like it's almost impossible at first. Like you're like, how can I possibly control my ship at these like insane speeds? And then you do for like a minute, and then you crash, again, you crash again, you're like, damn it, I suck. But what I will say, this is one of the most intense racing games I've ever played. Outside of VR, it's okay, but in VR, the intensity is through the roof, and because of that, I definitely recommend it from what I've played so far. Now the other game is Bloody Zombies, and Bloody Zombies is also playable outside of VR. But when you play it on a flat television, this is so strange. It's practically 2 different games visually, because when you play it on a flat television, it looks like not generic, but it certainly looks like 100 games we've seen before. So maybe generic is the right word, but as soon as you put on the VR helmet, everything changes. The environments look so great because they almost look cell shaded, like almost like a softness to the detail, but like with nice black outlines. And then the characters themselves, like Parappa the Rapper or maybe the Lost Bear, like 2D cutouts, right? So they're flat, and they're walking around the 3D environment. But the detail on these characters are amazing. Like they look fantastic, and like I keep leaning in to like check out the detail, and the whole game just like looks amazing. Like the aesthetic is just beautiful. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh, The Lost Bear just came out last week, and then this comes out this week, it's like here come the 2D VR games. This is dramatically different. If you're ever a fan of like Streets of Rage or Final Fight back in the day, like those were solid brawlers, right? Or even like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the arcade game, or the Simpsons arcade game. This four-player co-op brawlers. That's what you're getting with Bloody Zombies, except you're getting a better version than even those games were. And here's why: because not only can you play 4-player local co-op or online, playing by yourself is fantastic, but I got to jump into an online game with Seraphim190, and it was just so much fun because you want to like help your friends out, you want to like defend them against the zombies, and like also like show off your moves, because even in multiplayer you can use your saved game, you know, the one you've been playing in single player or local co-op or whatever, and like all of the things you've unlocked, all of the special moves, all of the passive abilities, the special abilities, those are all unlocked for you to use. So like it's really cool if like your friends haven't seen the ability. You get to like show off that new move you picked up, or like or how good you are using those moves. There's some like minimal platforming with secret areas, there's environmental dangers, like there's just some really cool stuff going on in this game that normally in a brawler, by the end of the second stage I'd be like, okay, I get it, I'm just mashing buttons and I'm bored, and it's just the same thing over and over and over again. But Bloody Zombies manages to keep it interesting and different with each level, and in VR at least, the environments look so cool and so different from each other that you just can't wait to see what the next level is going to bring. And each of those stages take about 20 minutes to complete, and there's 11 stages, but there's no way you're going to beat each stage on your first try. So there's a lot of replay value here, and the multiplayer is a blast, and the whole thing just has like this comic book look. Like even the story is told with some actually very good voice acting, surprisingly enough, and what look like, you know, comic book panels. So that's kind of it, right? There's both of these games, I'm going to say, like after playing for just a couple hours each, highly recommend both of them. I haven't gotten a chance to play Manifest 99, but as soon as I do, you'll know all about that. And of course, my review is already up for VR carts. Now finally, I just want to throw out, this is your second to last reminder about the PSVR Without Parole Spark Tournament. Now, I wasn't going to run a Spark Tournament. We all know this. It wasn't part of my plan. I don't have time to run a Spark Tournament. But also, you know, other channels are doing it, and I didn't want to like step on anyone's toes. But a few people in the community said, hey, we're going to start one, and I said, that's fine, go ahead. So if you want to join, it's getting kind of out of control. It's getting to be a pretty big tournament. I guess some prizes coming in. There's going to be a couple PlayStation Network gift cards, and also some codes for free PSVR games, which I will tell you all about at a future date. But the tournament starts this Friday, so make sure you go over to our community on the PlayStation 4, hit that community button, and then search for Without Parole Game Cats. Join that community and just leave a message right there on the front page that says, hey, I want to join the Spark Tournament, and Dr. Doom will sign you up. And then we'll all get to play starting Friday. Alright you guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you can stay up to date with all the latest PlayStation VR reviews, Let's Plays, podcasts, and of course breaking news. As always, I'm Brian Paul, and I love you all.